We're going to dive on a wreck here on Guam that people don't dive on very much for a couple of reasons. One, it's a little deeper than normal that most people don't want to dive at depths around 100 feet. And the second, it's really hard to find this. In the old days when we came out here, we used to line up a concrete block over there with a dry dock behind it. And then 90 degrees from that, straight ahead of us, we'd line up the Navy fuel piers with 2 Nimitz towers. That put us roughly in the area. Then all we had to do is drag an anchor back and forth until we hooked it. That would take up to an hour sometimes. But now, through modern space age miracles, we've got GPS and a fathometer. Life is wonderful. I'll see you there.
Okay, see you.
Bye. It's believed that the Kitsugawa Maru was sunk by torpedo bombers in July 1944. The ship was originally torpedoed southwest of Guam, and it limped into Apra Harbor. The ship couldn't move, and it was literally a sitting target. She sits upright at 140 feet of water, about 400 yards west of the Tokai Maru. This small ship launched in 1939 had 5 sister ships, all of them made of much cheaper construction than most other Japanese freighters of that era.
I didn't like shipwreck before, but I think I really enjoyed this time.
Probably the first place divers go, and the most photographed part of the ship, is the 4.7-inch bow gun, which is still sitting upright on its platform, even after 80 years. Sitting right behind the gun are 4 storage boxes containing 47 loaded shells for the gun. Only one is missing, and it's assumed that this was shot at the attacking planes, but nobody really knows. The bow cargo winches are fully intact, and just behind them is the remains of the forward mast. This used to be standing upright until a longliner hooked its anchor on it and it toppled over. The Kitsugawa is not listed on any anchorage charts, so unfortunately it has happened again to the rear mast and the bridge.
When I dove along the deck, I think about the people who are walking in the ship.
I can imagine people are living there and walking. Yeah, people stay there and walking the deck and kitchen.
The midsection, which contained the bridge, crew quarters, and the radio room, is starting to collapse, but the passageways on both sides are still open. Hanging underneath these are some string-like coral colonies that most divers miss. All you gotta do is look up. The main deck level is around 105 feet, and because it's sitting upright and its small size, the Kits is really an easy ship to dive on. The crew's bathing area is just behind the bridge on the deck level, and it's easy to find it. For some reason, bathrooms are like a magnet to divers, and Noriko was no exception.
When I went bathtub, I wanted to touch it.
What did it feel like when you touched it?
I thought it's soft. I can clean up very easy, but it was hard. I couldn't take it out very easy.
The passageways on both sides of the midsection are easy to swim through, but an entry into the interior of the ship should be done with a great deal of caution. The supports for the overhead and some of the bulkheads have collapsed, and there are wires and cables hanging down everywhere. This is no place to be caught. And once you stop to look at something, no matter how careful you are, it's almost impossible to avoid the billowing silt layer your fins will cause. As you can see from this old video, the entire front part of the bridge has collapsed. Some of it is due to the natural aging of the ship, but some of it is also caused by huge anchors hitting the ship, and that can be avoided. Heading to the stern section, look up. This mast is the second most photographed part of the ship. The Kitsugawa was sunk by a direct hit in the engine room, and the damage is clearly visible back here. Immediate flooding occurred, and the ship first settled stern down with the bow up. As the ship flooded forward, the bow finally sunk, and this is why she's sitting upright. Many years ago, there were lots of fish in the wreck, but you can only see small schools today, and no one really knows why. The Kits is a deep wreck dive for most divers, so your bottom time is pretty limited. At the end of the dive, most divers plan to stop on the stern mast at 65 feet. The very top of this mast has fallen over years ago, but you can still see the rust crease in it and the mast laying below. The mast also offers a convenient place to stop and take a few pictures. Right here on this very small section of the wreck, you'll find the most coral on the entire ship. And where there's coral, there's always reef fish, or in this case, shipfish. Ever wonder how they got here? The Kitsugawa Maru will continue to slowly collapse, so why not get out and see it when you can? Although it's a little on the deep side, it is definitely worth it.
That was good dive at Kitsugawa.
Enjoyed it?
Yes, I like it.